would you like to come to the stand?
Absolutely.
You may proceed.
Well, Your Honor, today I'm representing Jade Onyx versus Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Ocean of SAST and Major Braden Reed of BCSO. The first sentence of our suit, notably the most important one, reads as follows: false imprisonment, defamation, negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Today it's going to be very simple to prove to you that those claims are true and you will be ruling in our favor. We intend to prove to you these facts with a short video of a conversation between myself and the defendants and testimony from the defendants themselves. I do want to bring one thing up. The two officers that are behind me are highly decorative officers of our law enforcement community, and I highly respect them. What they did or may have not done is not a show of their character, but rather a fail of the way that they were trained and the way that their system was set up. On the other hand, you're going to have the defense putting on one hell of a show, as he has in his tantrums during our official communications via email, or the show he must have put on to the government as he pleaded to strip my client from her civil rights. They're going to try to make it seem so hard, as if my client is a terrible person that committed this specific crime by plaguing you with her previous crimes. And let me tell you, don't get it confused, because this is not a murder trial. The defense had 14 days from the time of the crime being reported to file any criminal charges against my client, and they failed to do so after dropping the initial charges in which she was detained from originally. But I'm in such a great mood that I'm going to do the defense. My client, Jade Onyx, was a terrible person. She's been found guilty of terrible crimes: attempted murder, criminal threats, institutional robbery, and the list goes on. Now, I can sit here and continue making my case and breaking the defense's case all within my opening statement, but I'm not going to let the fun be ruined. The defense's job today is to prove that the allegations that are made against the defendants are false and untrue, not to try to attempt to make my client guilty of a crime that exceeds the statute of limitations in this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benitez. You may proceed, Mr. Beaumont.
Good day, Judge, esteemed members of the court, fellow spectators. First, I'd like to point out that the defense doesn't have to actually prove anything today. The burden of proof rests solely on the prosecution, with the one piece of evidence that they are going to present today. Today, we've gathered here to address the claims asserted by Ms. Jade Onyx against law enforcement officers in this case. Ms. Onyx alleges false imprisonment, defamation, negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and ongoing emotional distress stemming from the incident in question. Ms. Onyx contends that she was falsely imprisoned. The threats she made towards Mr. Jack Miller the night before at the hospital, coupled with Mr. Miller being brutally assailed, physical evidence at the scene, and Ms. Onyx's lengthy criminal record and proclivity to violence led police to initially point the finger at her as part of their reasonable investigation. Police officers, as part of their sworn duty, play a critical role in maintaining public safety and order. This duty encompasses several key responsibilities, including the protection of citizens, the prevention of crime, and of course, the diligent investigation of criminal activities. The essence of this duty is not just about enforcing laws, but ensuring a secure environment where the rights and freedoms of individuals are respected and protected. Secondly, Ms. Onyx claims defamation, contending that law enforcement officers slandered her and damaged her reputation. However, it's important for the court to recognize that defamation requires the plaintiff to have a good reputation to be tarnished, which may be challenging to establish given Ms. Onyx's extensive criminal record. Thirdly, Ms. Onyx argues negligence, suggesting that law enforcement officers failed in their duty to follow up on a probable lead. However, to prove negligence, Ms. Onyx must demonstrate that officers breached their duty of care and caused her damages or injuries, which may be difficult to establish in this case, provided her counsel has provided no such evidence. Witness testimony alone is not sufficient. Fourthly, Ms. Onyx alleges intentional infliction of emotional distress, implying that officers purposefully caused her harm. Yet without clear evidence of malicious intent, it may be challenging for Ms. Onyx to support this claim. Lastly, but not leastly, Ms. Onyx claims ongoing emotional distress and seeks damages for the same. To substantiate this claim, Ms. Onyx would need to provide documentation showing that she has been seeking psychological help since the incident occurred. To this date, no such documentation has been provided to the court or the defense. As we proceed with this case, it's imperative that we weigh the evidence presented carefully and evaluate each claim based on its merits. Our goal is to ensure that justice is served and that the rights of all parties are upheld. Thank you, Your Honor.